রাজ্যসভায় আজ সংবিধান দিবস নিয়ে আলোচনা চলছে এবং সেখানে বক্তব্য রাখছেন কেন্দ্রীয় অর্থমন্ত্রী নির্মলা সীতারামন।
Amendment till today affects the freedom of speech of this country. Now, it is not as if this 1951 amendment happened all in a sudden. Prior to the amendment and post the amendment, we've had recorded action taken by those government that day, that particular government, in curtailing the freedom of speech. So the act was just waiting to happen, because even before it they started it, and even after that they were continuing. What are the examples, sir? Majrooh Sultanpuri and Balraj Sahani were both jailed in 1949 itself. For what mistakes, sir? During one of the meetings organized for the mill workers in 1949, Majrooh Sultanpuri recited a poem that was written against Jawaharlal Nehru, and therefore he had to go to the jail. Sir, he refused to render an apology for the same and was jailed therefore in 1949 along with Balraj Sahni, eminent actor of those days. So that is the level of tolerance. And today we hold our constitution in our hand, go about it and say freedom of speech. There is sense of fear in the country. Majrooh Sultanpuri didn't feel it, Balraj Sahni didn't feel it, but the history repeats when it comes to the Congress party. Sir, Congress's record of curtailing freedom of speech didn't confine it with these two people. Nehru, a political biography which was written by Michael Edwards, in 1975 was banned. They banned also a film called Kissa Kursi Ka in 1975, which was directed by Amritlal Nahata, just because it questioned Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and her son, and also the information broadcasting minister then. They banned also John Dalby's book, Himalayan Blunder, because it spoke about some huge crushing military disaster which happened in 1962, the China War. The details shouldn't come out, and therefore they banned that book as well. So this, and a bit later, 1988, Salman Rushdie's book, Satanic Verses, was also banned. So the spree of curtailing the freedom of expression, the spree of, containing freedom of press has happened before 49, and during 49 and 50, 51, the act comes, and subsequently also it continues. So it's nothing new. So the amendment, again, a second issue that I'd like to draw your attention to. I said I'm putting it through 4 tests. A 9th schedule was brought into through the first Constitutional Amendment Act. The 9th schedule, sir, is an interesting innovation brought for bypassing judicial review. Why was it brought in? I'm questioning the intent, sir, the constitutional spirit which is not being respected, and the process which is adopted are part of the test I want every amendment to be put to, so that you know whether it is done with the national interest, or is it done with some economic public good, or if it is brought in because there is a social large good which is required to be obtained. No, the 9th schedule was brought in only because they wanted to bypass judicial scrutiny. Any act incorporated in the 9th schedule became fully protected against any challenge in any court of law under any fundamental right. So even the act declared invalid. Even worse, today about everything retrospective we talk, saying no, nothing can happen in retrospective, it has to be futuristic. So prospective is what? Whether it is taxation, whether it is benefits, whether it is any clarificatory note. But here we go, the act declared invalid by a court becomes valid retrospectively after being incorporated into the 9th schedule. That's the extent to which they went, so that they can bypass judicial scrutiny. And Congress speaks about protecting rights and also on judicial independence, sir. It is shocking. Yes, we'll come. I'll come.
Please,
sir.
Jaramji, take your question.
The third point, sir.
प्लीज अच्छी डिबेट चल रही है, सुनिए, आपका जब समय आएगा बोलिएगा, प्लीज बी
SC, ST, OBC, come on. People who sat over Kelkar. Sir, the next instance which I would like to put through is amendment being enacted to, again, the judiciary was held in contempt. They had to be committed judiciary or else they were not respected at all. Another example, sir. Constitutional amendment was brought in to nullify a judgment that arose in the case of Mrs. Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narayan, wherein the order of the Allahabad High Court setting aside the election of Indira Gandhi was challenged. So, during the pendency of this case in the Supreme Court, the Congress party enacted the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1975. Again, earlier there is a Supreme Court and many other high courts have given clearance, but even then we'll curb freedom of speech, 1951, the First Amendment. Here, a case is pending. Mrs. Indira Gandhi's case is being heard in the court, Allahabad High Court. But no, we are in a hurry. What if the court comes against me? So I come up with an amendment, 39th Constitutional Amendment Act, 1975. Again, valid retrospectively, which added Article 392A to the Constitution. What did it say? It said elections to the President, Vice President, Prime Minister and Lok Sabha Speaker cannot be challenged in any court in the country. And it can be done only before a parliamentary committee. Imagine the extent to which, for a person to save her chair, इसीलिए किस्सा कुर्सी का was banned. कुर्सी बचाने के लिए कोर्ट का वर्डिक्ट आने से पहले ही हम जाकर के अमेंडमेंट करेंगे पार्लियामेंट में. यही है इनके इतने दूर तक जाने वाले विषय, कानून को दुरुपयोग करना, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट करवाना देश के हित में नहीं है, प्रोसेस सही नहीं होता, इससे आर्थिक सुधार कुछ होने वाले नहीं है या सामाजिक सुधार भी कुछ होने वाले नहीं है. व्यक्तिगत और परिवारवाद के लिए ही अमेंडमेंट हुआ है. सर, मैं दूसरी और एक उदाहरण देना चाहती हूं. एक और उदाहरण देना चाहती हूं जिससे सामाजिक सुधार के लिए अगर कोर्ट से एक ऑर्डर आता है, उसको भी, क्योंकि हमारे राजनीति के लिए वो उचित नहीं है, इसीलिए सामाजिक न्याय दिलाने वाले कोर्ट के आदेश के खिलाफ आकर के अमेंडमेंट कानून को करते हो हाउस में. इससे बढ़िया उदाहरण नहीं मिलेगा सर शाहबानू बेगम केस में, जहां सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उस महिला को न्याय दिलाने के लिए, एलिमनी देने के लिए, डाइवर्स के बाद जो पैसा मिलना चाहिए वो दिलाने के लिए कोर्ट से जो आदेश आए, द कांग्रेस पार्टी पास्ड द मुस्लिम विमेन प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ राइट्स ऑन डाइवर्स एक्ट 1986, which denied, it's very important, it denied Muslim women their right to alimony. सामाजिक न्याय, महिला के लिए न्याय मिलना नहीं चाहिए, चाहे वो कोर्ट में से आता है या कुछ और जगह से आता है, हम कानून से उनको नकार देंगे. महिला सम्मान नारी शक्ति बंधन अधिनियम ले आने वाले हमारे पार्टी इधर है. इस सदन में पहला कानून जो पास हुआ वो रिजर्वेशन फॉर विमेन सर, whereas the small benefit a widowed woman would have, a divorced Muslim woman would have got, was also defeated by this act. The constitutional amendment which the Congress party brought in 1986. So my test again, sir, neither samajik nyay, nor artik nyay, nor the process, nor the constitutional spirit, nothing of this was respected. And each time the Congress brazenly, only to help the family, the dynasty, kept amending the constitution, and this is how far they went, even if it affects any particular women who desperately needed the benefit. Sir, I'll come again to one more, the emergency, where that one important touchstone, the process, was completely violated. On 18th December 1976, the then President gave his assent to the Constitution 42nd Amendment Act. During the emergency, when the term of the Lok Sabha was extended without proper justification, they invoked the law to say Parliament has to be in session for 5 years, but we needed to have one extra year, so the act was extended. The Lok Sabha term was extended. And in that extended term, when the entire opposition was put to jail, there was nobody there. And entire opposition was in the jail. Then comes constitutional amendment, sir. The process, the touchstone that we need to have, is the process valid? That was a total invalidated process, and therefore I would think this is a blatant abuse which the country majorly agreed on. Sir, only 5 members opposed the bill in the Lok Sabha. There was none in the opposition in the Rajya Sabha to oppose it. Imagine, constitutional amendment being passed, entire opposition in the jail. In the Lok Sabha, only 5 people are there to oppose it, even some coming from their own party. And at the Rajya Sabha, no opposition. But constitutional amendment, changing the preamble itself, happens. The alteration of the preamble to include socialist and secular highlights the disrespect and disregard the Congress has for constitutional processes, principles, and institutions. Sir, the amendments were not about strengthening democracy, sir, but protecting those in power. Again, the process is used for strengthening the family. Sir, Baba Saheb Ambedkar had argued, and I quote, talking about whether the word secularism, talking about whether the word socialism should be included in the Constitution. Baba Saheb Ambedkar argued, I quote, I do not see, therefore, why the Constitution should tie down the people to live in a particular form and not leave it to the people themselves to decide it for themselves, unquote. And therefore, in the original Constitution, the word socialism was not there, as much as the word secularism. So 21 MPs, all opposition, belonging to all opposition parties, were held in jail. Manya Advani ji, Manya Atal ji were all in jail. Under Preventive Detention Law, Maintenance of Internal Security Act, 1971, the